Now on KGW News, a brawl in the streets between Antifa and far-right activists. We asked police why they didn't step in. Multnomah County is going back to a mask mandate.
If there's any risk we can mitigate, we have to do whatever we can.
What to know about the new rules. Plus, preparing for another heat wave this week.
It's going to be hard for us to reach everyone.
And outreach groups are asking for your help. Then later, one local store's unique solution to cut back on waste.
We try and cover as many of your household needs as possible.
Stock up on essentials without all the plastic. First at 11, slowing the spread of the Delta variant. Effective later this week, everyone 5 and older in Multnomah County will need to wear a mask in public indoor spaces. Thank you for joining us. I'm Laurel Porter. People found to be violating the mandate could face a hefty fine. Mike Benner has a reaction.
The owner of Bar West on Northwest 21st says the last year and a half has been anything but easy.
There's just something every day, yeah. And right when it starts to feel like you're in a groove, I've become programmed to say, what's next?
What's next is a mask mandate inside public spaces in Multnomah County. It's something Summer Triato of Bar West welcomes with open arms.
I think, it was too soon. A lot of us felt that way. It was too soon to do away with the indoor mask mandate, and I'm happy to see that we're getting some support on the county level. I'd like to see more of it.
If this is mandate.
At a virtual press conference Monday afternoon, county leaders explained that the indoor mask mandate that goes into effect on Friday the 13th will apply to everyone 5 and older, regardless of vaccination status.
We'll enforce this mandate like we do our tobacco regulations. The process will be complaint-driven and will involve a series of escalating steps from education on up to a $1,000 fine.
In downtown Gresham Monday evening, we met people who expressed reservations about the new mandate, though they declined to share those thoughts on camera. Online is a different story. One person wrote on Facebook, "I have no polite words for this. If there weren't enough reasons for East County to break away from Portland and create a new county, this should be it." Another person wrote, "Not going there for anything." A third person wrote, "Take my business out of the county. My money spends just as well someplace else."
We can't just stand by and let our staff be exposed.
Back at Bar West, Summer Triato looks forward to when the mandate goes into effect later this week, and she hopes it's in place for a while.
We've seen what happens when you reopen too quickly, and I don't want that to happen again.
Governor Kate Brown released a statement applauding Multnomah County for taking bold action to slow the spread of the Delta variant. She is encouraging other counties to do the same. We checked in with Clackamas and Washington counties, and at this point, they do not plan to roll out a mask mandate. Reporting in downtown Portland, I'm Mike Benner for KGW News.
When announcing the mask mandate today, Multnomah County health officials said one big concern is local hospitals that are at or near capacity. Take a look at what that looks like on the state level. This graph shows the number of people in the hospital with confirmed COVID cases. There are 575 around the state right now, and that is close to the highest level we have seen during the pandemic that happened in early December.
The pandemic is not over. Please encourage your family members, your friends, co-workers to get vaccinated and to wear masks.
That's a doctor with Kaiser Permanente. We learned the hospital is also putting in new rules to restrict visitors to help keep the virus out. They're also putting off some surgeries to make room for COVID patients. Demand for COVID testing has grown once again. We checked in at GS Labs in Lake Oswego today, where an employee told us they've been busier for a few weeks now. OHSU says it's seen enough of an increase in walk-ins, it's going back to requiring appointments for testing at its clinic sites. Dr. Donna Hansel, the chair of the pathology department at OHSU, stressed it's important for people with COVID-like symptoms to get tested even if they've been vaccinated.
Because if we don't monitor what's happening in the state, including in people who are vaccinated, we won't see what's coming. And I think that part is really important for us to stay ahead of this.
While the mass testing sites have shut down, many clinics and pharmacies are now doing COVID testing. In Washington, the governor today ordered most state employees and hundreds of thousands of healthcare workers to get the vaccine. Governor Inslee talked about the Delta variant, putting pressure on hospitals there. That's despite the state already having more than 70% of the population vaccinated. Under the new mandate, 60,000 state employees in the executive branch will have to get vaccinated, as well as workers in private health care and long-term care settings.
Unfortunately, we still have far too many of our fellow Washingtonians who have not gotten their vaccine thus far. They are not just unvaccinated, they are unprotected. And they are a big reason why our state is once again seeing a dramatic rise in COVID-19 cases.
The only exemptions will be for religious or medical reasons. Turning to the weather now, and another heat wave on the way this week. Joe Ranieri joins us now with the details. Joe?
Hey there, Laurel. Yeah, we're going to be looking at the temperatures really starting to warm up for tomorrow. You'll notice the heat, though, heading into Wednesday. It's fair to say the heat wave starts tomorrow, but the real heat arrives by midweek, Thursday, Friday, and even into the weekend. So as we look at the weather headlines, we slowly warm up starting tomorrow. Temperatures will be anywhere to the low to the mid-90s up and down the I-5 corridor. We could see 4 days of 100-degree plus starting Wednesday and all the way into the first part of the weekend. And then so far this summer, we've seen 3 days with temperatures 100 or above. So here's the setup for tomorrow. We'll have that ridge of high pressure slowly start to build in strength, just bringing in a lot of sunshine and warmer temperatures from what we have been seeing. And as we put this into motion, you can kind of see that color turns into more red and oranges. So highs jump anywhere from 100 to 105 degrees both Thursday and Friday. And yes, that is a chance to see some record temperatures fall really across the metro area. But you'll notice Friday, the winds shift a little bit. So I am forecasting temperatures anywhere from 100 to 105 degrees. But if we see that southerly flow, it's going to be bringing in some smoke and haze from the wildfires burning in Northern California and a little bit throughout Southern Oregon. If that's the case, then we really won't be warming up a whole lot. It'll still be hot, but maybe temperatures are in the mid to the upper 90s. So here's a peek at the forecast starting on Wednesday. 100 degrees for Wednesday, record is 102, and both Thursday and Friday we could be seeing temperatures anywhere from 100 to 105 degrees. Of course, those would be record temperatures. We'll talk more about some of the watches and warnings in just a few minutes. Laurel, back to you.
Thank you, Joe. And after the heat we saw in June and July, local organizations and experts say we're more prepared for that sweltering heat that Joe's talking about this week. Multnomah County has a new website called Help for When It's Hot. It lists the locations of cooling centers and spots where you can pick up cooling kits. The 211 helpline will also be available for people to call and find resources. Blanchet House, which serves the houseless community, will be offering shelter and ice water distribution on the streets. But they're also asking you to check in on your neighbors and offer help where you can.
It's going to be hard for us to reach everyone.
Just handing a bottle of water to somebody can really make a difference.
Portland is also setting up misting stations in outdoor parks, and Beaverton is opening the city library as a cooling shelter. On Friday, the Oregon Medical Examiner released the names and addresses of the 96 people who died across the state in June's heat wave. Our investigative reporter Kylie Boshi has been looking into the living situations of those who died to get a better idea of how similar tragedies can be prevented.
The heat wave that hit the region in late June resulted in at least 96 deaths across the state of Oregon. Most of the deaths, 60, were Portland residents. To better understand the circumstances of individual deaths, KGW mapped the addresses, then used Google Street View to determine the type of housing people lived in. More than half of those who died lived in apartments or multifamily units. Many lived in homes, both large and small. At least 8 people lived in RV or mobile home parks. A couple transients who died were living in vehicles. A preliminary analysis by Multnomah County found most of those who died were older, lived alone, and had no working air conditioning. Our early review, based on interviews and published obituaries, suggests some of those who died had pre-existing health issues and were out of contact with friends, family, or community groups. Kyle Aboshi, KGW News.
Now to Portland's gun violence problem. More people have died by homicide this year than in all of 2020. The latest death happened on a TriMet bus yesterday. The bus was near Southeast Hawthorne and 26th Avenue. We don't know much about what led up to this, only that there was some sort of disturbance on the bus. The victim died in the hospital. Police say the suspect ran off before they were called. They haven't made a suspect description public yet. This is Portland's 50th homicide so far this year, surpassing 2020's number of 55. That is an average of a homicide almost every 4 days.